So I'm sure many of you guys saw the video Amandla Stenberg posted responding to the negative reaction to the Acolyte and the cancellation of the show, but just in case some of you guys didn't, here's a little snippet.
Our Star Wars show has been canceled, and I'm gonna be transparent and say that it's not a huge shock for me. There has been a rampage of vitriol that we have faced since the show was even announced, when it was still just a concept and when no one had even seen it.
Now, many fans obviously took offense to that video by Amandla, as they felt that through the way she phrased it, they were being misrepresented, as many people were saying that they aren't bigoted and that they just didn't enjoy the story. And so of course, as anyone would, they took offense to being called specific names when they aren't that, and I think it's also easy to see why fans got even more angry than usual, because this continues to happen. We continue to see article after article talking about the negative sides of fandom and the problem with toxic fandom, but we hardly ever see an article showing the positive sides of fandom, or even just addressing the fair and well-intentioned critiques of a show. However, getting back to the point, just a few days since the release of that response video, things have gotten even more out of hand, as that response video by Amandla Stenberg has directly led to a petition being started to have specific content creators and critics banned. This includes channels like Nerdrotic, Star Wars Theory, and RK Outpost. And this petition was started yesterday in direct response to Amandla's video, so whether it was or wasn't intentional, her video and phrasing has led to the start of a very coordinated online attack of various critics of the Acolyte. And so I felt that it was important to make a video on this, as it shows the danger of this trend of just blanket labeling people who didn't enjoy a show or gave it a negative review. Because it's not just fans and online critics that are getting annoyed by this blanket labeling by the media, but it's also Hollywood A-listers that are getting frustrated too.
I mean, I just have to ask, because there are some of the, I'd say, extreme Star Wars fans who have made this a conversation on the internet about how they don't want a female director. Which seems bizarre because episodes of The Mandalorian were directed by females. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has been overseeing all of this. So, you know, what is your take on that?
I think my take is things get blown out of proportion. And the interactions I've ever had with people have been nothing but wonderful and supportive.
I'm curious if that's comparable to this sort of world, this culture of toxic fandom, where like if you make a movie, especially if you make a superhero movie, like you have great intentions, but there are always going to be a small yet vocal group of people there can kind of just be toxic.
I understand what you're saying, but when it comes to fans, it is a fan's right to have whatever opinion they want to have. I don't necessarily consider that toxic. I just consider that passionate.
And we even had the showrunners of The Acolyte say that they welcomed fair criticism but wouldn't tolerate bigotry, which is perfectly fine, yet they never addressed the fair criticism, or at least I never saw it being publicized, because I saw many posts and reports on how the fans were bigoted and toxic, but by never addressing the fans who just didn't enjoy the story, it started a narrative of only toxic, bigoted fans hating The Acolyte, which of course can't be the reality, because Disney cancelled the show, and the reason they cancelled it was because it just didn't do well in terms of viewership. But if it was only a vocal minority of toxic fans that hated the show, then the show would have still had good viewership, or at least be good enough to warrant a second season, which they already announced they had plans for. So quite clearly, majority of the backlash had to be in response to the quality or the entertainment value of the show, and most definitely not the diversity. Because due to this narrative, we now have hundreds of people trying to get a channel like Star Wars Theory removed for a perceived bigotry. However, Star Wars Theory was a channel that was supporting The Acolyte until he watched it for himself and then just said he didn't enjoy it.
To that, I disagree. I was one of the first people on YouTube, actually, years and years ago, when there was talks of a show called The Acolyte, or a show about a Acolyte of a Sith that was coming out, and I was like unbelievably excited. I'm going to try and find the clip and insert it here so you can see, you know, the evidence, proof, receipts.
Leslie Headland's Acolyte show that's coming up, I essentially said in last night's stream, last night's podcast, I was like, yo, I'm really excited for this Acolyte show. I think it's gonna be pretty sweet. Takes place, a couple hundred years before episode 1, and it's gonna be focusing on a dark side female character. Who that is, I don't know, but it sounds pretty interesting. I'm all for Star Wars going into more of a dark realm and showing us a bit of the point of views of other characters, not just the good guys necessarily.
So this is a guy who knew it was a diverse female lead, yet still said he was extremely excited. Then after watching it, he came out and said the story wasn't good at all, and it doesn't deserve a season 2. To me, that type of criticism and that type of response to a show doesn't deserve to be attacked, and it most certainly doesn't deserve to have his channel potentially removed, which would not just lose him his own income, but it would also lose the income of his various employees. Because it's important to remember that we are actually talking about people's lives here, and it gets really dangerous when things get misrepresented in this way and could damage the lives of people and their ability to support their family. And so once again, this all comes back to the video that was released by Amandla Stenberg herself. So given the seriousness of the situation, I think it's fair to ask Amandla to maybe clarify her thoughts here and make it clear that there is fair criticism out there, and that yes, there are some wacky idiots in her DMs attacking her for things like her race and gender, and for that I am deeply sorry, but this isn't the majority of the backlash. And I think it's important to make that clear in order to avoid this type of response and these types of petitions being made, because I have yet to watch one review of The Acolyte where someone said I didn't like the show for the simple fact that not everyone was a white male. And I'm not saying that there isn't potential reviews out there that do say things like that, but I'll give you guys a montage of many reviews that I watched personally that only dislike The Acolyte for its story.
In general, other than the hand-to-hand combat, the terrace Cossi as it was going down, general cinematography and tone, it's just boring. That's what I can say about the show. It's a mediocre, boring television show.
What a completely retarded mess this show is. It's built around literally the simplest by-the-numbers murder mystery plot, complete with twin sister femme fatale tropes and everything, and somehow still finds a way to fuck it up. And it's all held together by insane coincidences, ridiculous contrivances, and decisions that run contrary to logic and common sense.
It dilutes, it ever so slightly taints. The more and more Star Wars we make that isn't of a higher quality, the less special Star Wars feels, the less essential, the less important, the less urgent it feels to watch it.
So as you guys can see, there are plenty of well-meaning critics out there who are just sharing an honest opinion on a product that they paid for, and they don't deserve to be targeted or accused of being something they aren't, and they most certainly don't deserve to have their livelihood stripped away from them. But what are your thoughts on this situation? Let me know down below in the comments. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always,
good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Now, I know many of you guys don't believe this, but I'm gonna tell you something. Let me pause this real quick. Okay, so you're not gonna like what I have to say, but you're also going to understand what I really mean. So, she's also right, and she's also wrong. Does that make any sense? It's kind of like an actual yes and no answer. So, let's remember Obi-Wan. Okay, does everyone remember when Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice actor, Ewan McGregor, called out a bunch of racist people for targeting a certain black actor? Let's keep it that way. So, if people are not going to remember this, she's also right. Because, yes, a lot of Star Wars fans have a very big hate fetish for black people. Unfortunately, this is like that from around the world. It's kind of like a sick, twisted thing of just hating on black people because of, a couple things that, hood niggas do. And when some hood nigga does this, some hood nigga does that, yeah, the whole black community is blamed for it. So, yeah, we have to take responsibility for something we cannot control. Like, that was their decision. But, I mean, if I see a certain race always arguing with people over pumpkin spice lattes being wrong, but no one doesn't say anything about that like that. They keep it under wraps. Right. So, the yes part, like I said before. There was a weird hate surge during the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Ewan McGregor called out all of them, telling them to back off if they don't like it. They have one black actor. That was it. One goddamn black actor, and everyone went bananas. Everyone went crazy. Like, what was wrong with people back then? Y'all are dumb, bro. So, what happened? Called him out. That was it. So, no. The no part, I'm gonna get to it. The no part is that the fact that Disney is doing all this. The moment George Lucas decided to give the rights to Disney was the moment Star Wars was ruined forever. Everything is propaganda based. Unfortunately, like I said with the yes part, everyone was being racist. I remember a whole bunch of people when the Acolyte came out, bunch of people making disrespectful racist jokes towards black people. They're without their father, blah blah blah, same old, you know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. The show honestly was, like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, the show was honestly not that good. It was really whatever. I'm not gonna lie, certain scenes of the entire show, my brain could guess, and I would be right the entire time. Let me tell you guys something. If I'm guessing the right things, you're doing your show incorrectly. So say there was a scene that was so fucking predictable. I forgot the Jedi Master's name that was trying to protect the sisters. I don't care. That's how bad the show is. Like I said, all these shows nowadays, I'm just watching, dipping off. I don't care. So, what I was watching from that show, I don't care. I'm going to spoil a little bit because it's bad. He explains what really happened. And let's say one of the sisters is completely neutral with it. Completely fine. They're teamed up. They're going against the other sister or whatever the fuck. And the next moment, the dude tells the truth. It was so goddamn predictable. I was like, oh, she's going to kill him. And she kills him. That's how I know you're doing your show wrong, if I know it better than you. That's embarrassing to me. You're not supposed to make me feel like I already know your show before you're gonna do it. That's stupid as fuck. But hey, guys, there's gonna be a lot more bigots out there. Every time there's a black person, there's gonna be a lot more bigots. But also, the reason why that keeps happening low key is because Disney keeps making the wrong choices. It's not because the bigots are out here trying to talk shit. Well, most of them actually are. Bigots are out here trying to talk shit, but however, the actual Star Wars fan base just wants it to be Star Wars without the propaganda. But Disney keeps doing it because they think it's funny. They think it makes sense. They don't know what they're doing. And if you guys looked up the Borderlands movie or the past few movies on video games, no one knows what they're doing. About half of these people owned up to what they really wanted to do. They just wanted to put their whole twist on it. Do you see how much of a problem that is? And Borderlands failed in the box office. That's how bad the movie was. Everything was done wrong. If people just kept to animated shit, everything would be fine. But no. We want it to be live action. And I've noticed every time it's live action, it's shit. It is shit. Why do you keep making live action movies with our games? With our favorite franchises? Stop it. That's why when animated shit comes out, it goes further and beyond IRL shit, because IRL shit is so boring. So boring. You guys gotta understand. You can't keep doing this. You keep shooting yourselves in the foot twice over. I'm expecting you guys to not even have a foot at this point in a couple of years. Probably you shot off a couple of toes while you're at it. This is crazy. Like, you can't continue blaming people on racism. You can only blame that half that is like being racist. Like the other Star Wars half that's being racist, blame them. But the real half that's critiquing you on your show, don't blame them, because they're in the right. This show was god awful. I watched it, literally was bored out of my mind. I predicted everything and it was all correct. The director is predictable to the motherfucker. Never have her again. Thank you. Peace out. Everyone, learn this well. If you're going to be a director, stick to the script. Don't be an idiot and try to put your own little twist on it. Okay? Stop trying to put your little twist on things. No one doesn't care about that. Peace out.
Hi, I'm Lucy Christian. I am the voice of Otako Uraraka, and you should subscribe to Neusxanity's channel. Peace out!